But back to the opportunities and leveling the playing field and those items, I understand the frustration of people who have been oppressed, because almost everybody below a certain strata in our society has been oppressed. Some groups way more than others, no question. And I understand how it boils over at some point in time where you go, this system is never going to work for me. I don't give a damn. I ain't paying any attention to this system anymore. There's a different set of rules. And we talked a little bit about this last time. It's like there's a mindset of people out in the suburbs and out in the rural areas. Well, you just do this, you just do that. But when you're living in the inner city and there ain't nowhere to go to get out except for sports, like we were talking a minute ago, and you start looking at the paths up and how daunting they are, and the roadblocks are there, and we said last week, it's who you know. We don't know anybody. It's how much money do you have? We don't have any money. And then the climb is just, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but you're basically gonna work 3 times as hard your entire life to get to the same level. And how do we create the opportunity? How do we realign our society? I'm concerned, back to the beginning of our conversation, about all the spending that the federal government wants to do, that it's just a big smoke screen. That's we're going to throw some cash at certain groups of people to pacify them in the short term, while all this other globalism and the corporate takeover of everything continues on. So in the short term, we're going to pacify all you people. And I'm just talking about black people, but people in just middle class and lower income classes. We're going to pacify you guys. Go, look what your government's doing for you. But the beat's still going to be going on. That's moving us toward a world where we really don't have any more power or opportunity than we do now.
Exactly. And then, and like you're saying, like maybe Atlanta does it, may do it, maybe Washington D.C. will do it, but all the other big cities in America are not doing it. So it's still, like my son always says, it's like, okay, and I try to get him to understand, well, at least they're doing it somewhere, but at the same time, if it's not done across the board, then it's still not, you know, the percentage of the two is still not balancing out.
So this is the last question I'm going to ask you today, Lester, is and it's probably an impossible question to answer, but let's say is we talk about, you know, creating more opportunity and talk of reparations and these things such as that, is in the minds of you know, your average, you know, black Americans. When will we be there? When will we be at a point where you can look up and go, okay, we're cool with this? I told you it's an impossible question. But I dropped it on you anyway.
I was going to say, maybe when my kids has kids, maybe then, because it's, I mean, I right in definitely not in our lifetime. I don't know, that's a hard question. I don't know when. I mean, because again, it's not until somehow, some way that those little kids that are growing up, when they can stay in the mindset of being little kids but be adults and understand that they can all still work together, because those are the ones that's going to end. Some of them are going to end up being the ones that end up in Congress. And if they have that mindset going into Congress, whether they're Democrat or Republican, they're going to understand that they can work with each other no matter what color or race. When that's going to happen, I mean,
in your opinion, are we closer now than we were when you were a teenager? Have we made progress?
I mean, I guess with the ruling on the Floyd case, I guess if you look at that one thing, you could say, you know, it's a little bit percentage better, but I mean, one of my friends was saying the other day, the only reason, that's another hard question to answer, because the only reason why we possibly could be closer is now because we have, you know, camera phones. We can catch a lot of the stuff now that couldn't be caught, you know, back when me and you were teenagers, because it was happening then.
Do you think that your son has more employment opportunity and more of an ability to chase his dreams than you did at the same age?
Maybe a little percentage more, because it's probably, you know, more, I would say just the fact that it's more black-owned businesses, more minorities are starting to, like we talked about with the sports, starting their own businesses and doing things here and there. Because of that gives them more opportunity. But then again, it also depends if he's able. My son, because he was able to go to school and get certificates, stuff like that, I think helps him out a lot. But is it a bigger difference? No, I don't think it really is.
Does the fact that now that his generation has seen a black president, now we have a black female vice president, and we've seen black like Secretary of State and cabinet members and on the Supreme Court and that kind of stuff, how much does that resonate in the community? How much does that affect day-to-day life in a lot of black communities? Is that just one of these things where, oh, it's nice that that's happened, but how is it changing my world every day?
Yeah, for my son, it's like, he's good, happy to see. I'm not gonna say he's not happy to see that happens, but again, for him, it's like, okay, yeah, we had black president, we had we have a black vice president now, but again, like, what is that doing for me?
Yeah.
As a about to be 25 years old, are they gonna get me a job? They're not. So
that's what I've said to people in the past. Like, I've been white all my life,
right?
And all the presidents up until Barack Obama were white all my life. Why they never sent me anything?
Right.
They never did anything for me.
Right.
So like, okay, it's nice that it's diversifying, and and I said if more people, minorities feel more empowered, and there's more representation, and there's more people in Congress talking about what needs to happen in those communities. That's great. But day in and day out, is it putting any more food on my table? Is it creating, I keep saying this word, is it creating more opportunity for my kids?
Right.
And your kids?
Right. Because like I said, again, don't get me wrong, it's good to see. And I was happy to see, that because for many blacks, that is going to be a positive thing for them to see that. Because some of them do look at it and say, man, if they can do it, I can do it too. You know what I mean? Which is great. For that. But again, like you say, like I always try to tell my boys, you got to, in this day in life now, you have to create for yourself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You have to get out there. You have to meet people, whether they, white, black, whatever. Because as we said, it's who you know.
Yep. Right.
And you got to put yourself in those positions, because, just because, just because somebody gets in a position, don't mean they're going to help me. I still have to help myself. Right. So,
I guess if I was going to say anything to any young people, regardless of color, get out of your own neighborhood. Go meet other people. Go do other things. Go places you would not normally go in your day-to-day life.
Yep.
And build those bridges. You'd be amazed what it's going to do for your life. Because I'm going to tell you, as a poor white knucklehead from the middle of nowhere town, could never have imagined the life I've lived the past 60 years. And it was all because I've just said, screw it, I'm going to go.
Right.
What's the worst thing you can do? Throw me out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've been thrown out of places.
Yeah.
But more often than not, you meet people when you go, they ain't so bad. Yeah. So you meet people you don't like. You meet people that rub you the wrong way. But more often than not, you walk away from every new experience with a new friend.
Exactly.
And people keep in touch with you. Meet some guy on a plane. Next thing you know, 5 years later, you're doing podcasts with a guy. You can't close the door on any possibilities,
you can't
man.
do that at all.
And for God's sakes, don't do it because of somebody's gender, their skin color, their religion. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Go, okay, well, we're sitting here going, well, why? What do you think? Why do you think that? Ask them why they think what they think. You might learn something.
You just might. And if you don't like what they say, then don't take it personal. That's their feelings, their thoughts, or whatever. And you don't have to accept it or anything. Just say, okay, that's how you feel. All right, cool.
You've walked a different road than me, and that's like, we're never going to know what it's like to be each other. But we can talk about it
all the time.
Pleasure, my friend.
Pleasure again.
Till next time.
Next time. Two men on a plane.
Two guys on a plane.
Guys on a plane.
We'll be one of these days. We're going to do this on a plane. Swear to God, we are.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
On the way to Vegas is where we're doing this on a plane.
Once we get a lot of money and we have our own personal jet.
You heard the man. We're setting up the GoFundMe now.